What's up YouTube? For tonight's video I have a top 10 frustrating Pokemon to catch. Now, this is purely based on my opinion, so keep your knickers on if you disagree with my opinions, that's fine, everyone's got different opinions and stuff. Okay, I want to start picking some people's top 10s in the comment section, so go now, leave one below. Highest summed up one I will cover, and I want to start doing people's suggestions. Okay, starting off at number 10. Now, Paragon wasn't a Pokemon you technically caught, but it was one you obtained, so I thought I'd include it in this list. Now, Paragon was extremely annoying, especially in Gen 1. In a sense, it was actually 6,500 coins, but in Pokemon Yellow it was 999 coins, and you actually had to work to get that one. You had to play the slots to get the coins, the exact amount of coins, so you could buy them to a certain point, then you had to tediously get the coins for it. Okay, my number 9th frustrating Pokemon is Lapras. Now, in Gen 2, this is especially for Gen 2, you could catch it on Fridays. It would appear in this little patch of water. Now, the thing about Lapras was, it didn't have a very high catch rate, and at the same time, when you battled it, it actually had Perish Song, and what Perish Song does, if you don't know that, in a certain amount of turns, you actually faint as well. The user faints, and the Pokemon out in the field faints. So this makes it a very frustrating Pokemon to catch. Took me a couple of goes to actually get it. Okay, now, next up, we have Mesprit. Now, Mesprit was really annoying. This Pokemon just runs freaking everywhere, all over there. So you've got to check your little map below, and when you finally encounter it, it's a joyous moment. You get level 50 to actually catch Mesprit, but the whole main thing about running around after it made it really annoying. It was more annoying and frustrating than hard to catch. But they did make it quite easy say Pokemon Oris. They made it much easier to actually get to it, so you didn't have to run around as much for it. But the earlier gens, when it first came out, definitely was hard. Okay, next up, I have Kangaskhan. Now, Kangaskhan for me was a pretty damn hard Pokemon to catch. Starting off in Gen 1, it had a freaking low catch rate, and you could just spam Ultra Balls every day of the week, and it still would not capture. Still would not capture. Anyways, the thing about this was Kangaskhan remained pretty tricky to catch during the gens after Gen 1. Okay, so in Gen 1 you could get it in the Safari Zone. When they did the remakes for Leaf Green and Fire Red, it was the same thing as well, and it was just as frustrating to catch. And in Gen 6, it was hard to catch as well. Very low finding rate and catch rate in the early gens, so it's definitely made on my list. Okay, next up, we have Abra. Now, this Pokemon is well known for being a very trolly Pokemon. Now, when you encounter Abra, the only real way to actually get it is in one go. Otherwise, if you throw your whatever ball you're using and you don't catch it in the first go, it'll just use the move Teleport, and that's the only move it has to run away from the battle. This was really frustrating for me in Gen 1. The cool thing about it though is Abra has pretty much this thing has stayed the same throughout all the gens. It hasn't changed or anything. The Pokemon hasn't got easier to catch, which is good. Putting breeding aside, if you're just catching an Abra in the wild like such, it is pretty difficult to, and especially if they add a little, low percentage rate on the Abra, that just makes it even harder. So you go to all this way to try and find it. When you eventually find it, you don't have a guaranteed chance to actually catch it. That definitely puts it as a big frustrating Pokemon for me there, and yeah, I like how it's stayed the same through the whole time and hasn't become easy to catch. Okay, up next we have Combi. Now, female Combi. I'm sure you guys know about this one, especially in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum days. So female Combi was didn't have a very big chance at all to actually get it. It's a 12.5% chance. That's a 1 in 8 chance actually when you found a Combi after you slather the honey on the trees. Now, you actually had to wait 6 hours between this, which was pretty crazy, and that's a lot of time. Okay, up next was the legendary birds. Now, these were very frustrating for me in the latter gens of Gen 6. In Gen 1 they were fairly easy, but in Gen 6 you actually had to encounter them. If you wanted to get one, you had to encounter it 10 times. 10 freaking times before you could even go ahead and capture it. In the earlier gens, you pretty much just kept missing with your ball, but once the ball actually went around it, it was a guaranteed catch. So that's how it is for the birds, and I definitely put them up there on my hard frustrating Pokemon list. Okay, next up we have the legendary dogs. Now the legendary dogs were similar to the birds in the sense that you know, they were very, very frustrating indeed. Now for Gen 2 especially, you had to actually rump into them randomly. Now, commonly Pokemon used against them, you could just like mean look them in and capture them, but they were very much a pain in the ass. Now, the thing that really clinched it for me was the remakes. Now, these Pokemon actually had Raw as well, and you actually depended on your starter. So you actually start the game 3 whole times to get all of them, and that's very, very frustrating in my opinion. Okay, up next we have Phoebus. Now, Phoebus was definitely a frustrating Pokemon to catch. Not so hard to catch when you find it, but just hard to find and hard to catch. Now, Phoebus remained pretty true during 3rd Gen and 4th Gen, but after 4th Gen, going into 5th Gen, I really got disappointed because it might sound weird, but I did actually like the fact that it was so hard to catch. It just got very easy to catch. They lowered the rate of it, and then they even took away the tile method in 5th Gen and 6th Gen, which I did not like at all, and I definitely will say that. And then they just made it, you know, fishing at a low little percentage, like 5% chance, and even the little water bobbing thing that you just saw then in 6th Gen. But that was very hard to get in 3rd and 4th Gen. Definitely there for Phoebus, so definitely getting high on my list for that one. Okay, next up we have Chadz as my number 1. This was a complete troll to me. In my opinion, this was the hardest Pokemon to catch, especially Gen 1 clinched it for me. Now, it'd pop up. It had a very low chance to pop up, about 5%, and it would have this weird thing, how you throw the ball at, especially in the Safari Zone only, you throw the ball at and it would miss. Yes, that pretty much summed up my... pretty much summed up how I felt. So it'd keep missing and missing and missing me. I went through like 30 Safari balls on it, and then it went like ding dong, it's over, and yeah. People actually converted to going to like, you know, the Masingo glitches and things to actually get the Chansey, because it was quite hard to get. You could catch it later on in Cerulean Cave, but just finding and getting it in the Safari Zone was an accomplishment. Once again, it was actually similar to the legendary Pokemon. You could throw the Safari balls at it, but it only would catch it once the ball caught the Pokemon inside, and then you had to make a choice to throw, you know, the rock or the bait. The bait making it easier or staying around, but making it hard to catch. That was the and the rock. You know, throw the rock, make it anger. But, you know, then it has a chance of fleeing. It stayed pretty true during the gens as well, in Gen 2, and they kind of made it pretty easy in 4th Gen, 5th Gen, 16 with little Happiny there. You could just breed it and get your Chansey pretty easy. But, yeah, that was my top 10 list, and there were some really cool Pokemons there, and I like, especially with Phoebus. Phoebus is a really good example there. If a Pokemon's like, especially Phoebus, just it makes me angry because now it's just so easy to catch. Like, what was the hardest Pokemon for you to catch? I'd like to know your thoughts and feelings too. Leave that in the comment section below. I want to give a couple of little honourable mentions as well. Spiritomb, I know that had Memento in Gen 6. That was quite tricky to catch. Electrodes can be difficult too. They can go, WTF boom. And also one more, Relicanth in Gen 3. That was very, very hard to catch. Had a low, when you dive on the water, had quite a low chance to catch, and you had to get the Reggies with that, so you're almost forced to get that if you wanted to get the Reggies. But yeah, that's already like all the ones I can actually think of there. But yeah, if you want me to do a top 10 you'd like me to cover, leave that in the comment section. Go. I will definitely do the highest thumbs up comment as usual. Got some more stuff coming your way. Also, if there's any top 10s you're wondering if I, have I done this one, check them out after this in the little playlist. That's about all, guys. Peace out.